All right, so we are recording. Welcome to the Team Nourish team call. It is February the 11th, and we're going to get to going here. We're almost halfway through the month, which is going so quick, per usual. Okay, Megan Eden, can you give me a thumbs up if you can see the slides? All right, nice. Thank you so much. Okay, so welcome to the team call, you guys. I'm so glad that you guys are taking time out of your night to learn about more about coaching and just how to hone our craft. I think even if you are good at inviting and it's something that you've been, I don't know, doing for a while, any kind of refinement is really, really helpful. So we're going to kick off tonight with our recognition, which is typically what we do because recognition is a cornerstone of what we do here in Team Nourish and really just coaching as a whole. And I don't know about you guys, but pretty much every other job I've ever worked at, I never get recognized until I've done something wrong. It was always one of those things where it's like you don't hear a single peep until you've done something to screw up, and then that's all you hear about. But we're kind of the opposite here in Team Nourished and Beachbody as a whole. We want to recognize you for every step along the way, everything we can do to shout you out and lift you up. So our weekly top five, congratulations to Carrie Summers in the top spot, Michelle King, number 2, Emma Shaw, number 3, my second CBC at number 4, and Amanda Collison at number 5. So congrats, ladies. The weekly top five is made up of those who are enrolling other people, who are enrolling coaches, and who have personal volume or sales volume kind of thing. So congrats to Carrie. Not surprising, she's also on the helped 3+ people this month list. I need to get that changed back over instead of SC5 to how many lives she's helped, because I think that that's a really good indication and helps us keep focused on the people and not the points. But Beachbody does have a point system called Success Club, and it basically means you get 1 point for every no, I'm sorry, 2 points for every one person that you have helped. And so you have helped 3 people, Carrie. Congratulations. And one of the other things to note is that during Team Cup month, which I think all of you on the call are registered for Team Cup. Oh, why are there little lines on this thing? That's weird. The people who are registered for Team Cup, if you are using your promo codes, if you use the promo codes that you use, you get new ones. So Carrie used, I'm assuming she used all 3 of her codes. If she didn't, she will use them, I'm sure, and she'll get them refilled, which is really awesome as well. So on the board, those of us who are helping people and just are helping as many people as possible. So far, we have Matt Porter at 2, which I was like, oh, okay. I woke up and I was like, how did my husband get to SC2? Because he doesn't work his business. I do. But he had an old Beachbody lead that decided to order Shakeology Home Direct. So congratulations to Matt. Megan Broski at SC2, Renee Ender at SC2, Leanna Morris at SC2, Michelle King at SC2, Emma Shaw at SC2, myself at SC2, Amanda Harold at SC2, and Layla Bryant at SC2. So we have all helped effectively 1 person this month so far. The month is young. We still have plenty of time this month to help all the people. And I know myself inviting using this formula as we speak. So I'm sure this board will look very different next week as well. So congratulations to those of you who are helping people advance their health and fitness. Okay, so a couple of little things. Like I said, I don't really know why these red marks are there, but for some reason, sometimes you do a slideshow and it like puts random red marks everywhere. So Emma Shaw is lighting up our board tonight. Congrats to Emma on both advancing her business to Emerald and then also hitting Success Starter month 1. We've talked about Emma a lot because she is the girl who is making the waves this month. And last month, she's got a mission. She's on it, and she just keeps putting Amala's picture front and center, and that's what she's driving towards. So congrats to Emma. If you are relatively new to our team and you don't know what Emerald is, Emerald means that you have enrolled 2 people underneath of you as coaches and that they are active. They do have to be active if you enroll 2 people as a coach and one of them stops their Shakeology or stops their performance line and skips months. That means they are inactive. It doesn't hurt them. It does affect your rank, but doesn't mean anything necessarily for them, other than the fact that they cannot make a team cycle bonus until they regain their status as an emerald or whatever coach, level that they're at. So like I said, Emma has advanced her business to emerald. That means she's got 2 active coaches up underneath of her. It also means she is eligible for team cycle bonuses. So if you saw me shout her out and talk about how she opened her Beachbody bank account, that's what I'm talking about. Beachbody. Hi, Michelle. Beachbody allows you to have essentially like a points bank account. And so you get to start capitalizing off of the growth of the team, not just your own personal sales, which is a really big deal. So you don't want to have to rely on your own personal sales forever and ever. That's why we are a team, and that's why we work together as a team. And so Emma is now able to take part in that aspect of our compensation plan. So congrats, girl. I'm going to click over here. We have a new section of recognition coming out. Like I said last week, when you guys heard from Brooke Collins, I was on her team call, and she did this thing called a social media shout out on all of her team calls. And I thought, what a fantastic idea. I love being able to recognize you guys for awesome social media posts, since so much of our business is driven through social media. I want to share with you guys every week some examples of coaches who kind of pop up on my feed, who I see, and I'm like, all right, they're doing something right. And I want to shout them out, because you guys, this business is all about duplication. You're going to see that tonight. This formula that I'm giving you guys is about duplication. We all want to try to do it ourselves. We all think that we know how to do better than, everybody else, and that I know better than, I don't want to be like anybody else. That's the big thing. It's like, I don't want to be like anybody else. But the reality is, success leaves clues, you guys. And so if you're seeing someone who's doing something and they're getting results in their business, your ears might need to perk up and take some advice and take some coaching and do some things that other people are doing. Doesn't mean copy paste them. It doesn't mean I want a bunch of cookie cutter coaches on my team. I want you doing the best you that you can possibly do. But there is some refinement in this, and there is some learning some skills. So number one, like I said, I wanted to shout these ladies out. They came across my feed in the past week. I am only going to be highlighting 1 week at a time. So just so you guys know, since this is a new thing we're doing, I'm not going to scroll back in your feed, because nobody else is doing that either. Okay. The people who are following you are not scrolling back for months and months to see what you've been doing. They want to see what you're currently and presently doing. And so if this isn't popping up in the first 5 pretty much blocks on your Instagram, or on your, the first 5 posts on your social media, you're not doing it consistently enough. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about tonight the formula, and that's part of it, is consistency. But I did want to highlight a couple of things. So Michelle King is the queen of consistency in our boot camp, and she has decided this year that she is going to bring that level of consistency to her business and to her posting. And so I want to shout her out for this post specifically, because number one, it's showcasing her in something really neat. Like it's scroll stopping. I'm going to highlight you guys the things that are working in these people's posts, so that you can start to duplicate some of that for yourselves. Michelle's post it's eye-catching. It makes me go, what is she doing? And then I loved that she's talking about her boot camp, and she's also asking for advice. I think that that's really a smart way to do some engagement in your social media. She says, I think now I want to challenge myself to learn how to do a handstand. Anyone got any tips on how to work up to that? That's an engaging question that gets people talking in posts, which I think is really, really smart. It moves you up the algorithm, so more people see your posts, and it gets conversations going. So good job, Michelle, on that. Carrie, I wanted to highlight your transformation post. And let me just tell you guys, and I feel like before I even get started, y'all are going to be like, this call is about Danielle beating us up about what we're not doing right. So I kind of want to preface this before I even say that. With Carrie, yours is the only, you and myself, which I'm not trying to like toot my own horn and make it the Danielle show by any means. But yours and mine are the only ones this week that I went and scrolled through and saw a transformation of. You guys, it's Wednesday or Thursday. In the last 5 days, I haven't seen anybody else but Carrie and myself post a transformation. If this is a business of transformation, and if you are trying to encourage other people to have a transformation and you don't have a transformation post, guess what you're going to be posting tomorrow? A transformation post. Sorry, like that is the way it is. People respond to transformations. It does not have to look like Carrie's. I'm not asking you to take a picture in a sports bra and shorts and post it side by side. What I am asking you to do is to make a transformation post. The thing that I love about Carrie's transformation post is that she is measuring the success of her 9-week control freak journey. She is in she just finished week 5. She's showing the day 1 and the week 5. You know, it's really cool. Every single week, Carrie has done this. She has measured her progress because this is how people see what Carrie's doing. Carrie's in Success Club already this month. Maybe take a hint from Carrie. Okay. So I love that she's measuring it. I remember several weeks ago when Carrie came to Hawaii and she got back from Hawaii, she had eaten all the poke, she had drank all the drinks. It wasn't this like, oh my God, she all of a sudden has ripped abs kind of thing. She's showing her real life transformation, you guys. People want to see real life. So congrats, Carrie. I'm super stoked that you put your transformation out there. Um, and then I wanted to highlight Paige's post. I thought that this was really, really great because she's not just talking about fitness. She's also talking about the transformation in her mindset. And I think that that is really awesome to highlight, is that this journey is not just about physical. I think that so many people get super hung up on the fact that like, oh my God, I have to show my body. And oh my God, it's all about workouts. No, it's not. Your transformation can be in your heart. Your transformation can be about your mindset. And so the fact that Paige is showing off the transformation in her mindset is incredibly, incredibly powerful. I think that that makes a deep connection with other people who need to hear that message. And so congrats to Paige for being bold and being vulnerable. I know it's not easy to talk about the things that you're struggling with. And I think that it's really powerful that when you do that, people start to connect with you on more than just a surface level. So congrats to her. The other thing that I want to highlight about all 3 of these girls, and that I want, you know, if you make it part of your, like, this is what I want to be on the social media shout out, guess what you have to have with your post? A picture. Yeah. You have to put a picture with your post. It does not work for you to not post a picture. It just doesn't. Like, what am I trying to say? The Facebook algorithm, people stopping their scroll, they don't do that for just words, guys. Most of the time, unless you're asking for a recommendation about something, people don't pay a bit of attention to what you're posting if there's not a photo with it. So get comfortable being uncomfortable. Again, you don't have to do it in a sports bra and shorts, but you do have to do something that is visual. We are a visual type of people. So congrats to Michelle and Carrie and Paige. I can't wait to see what comes across my feed this week. And I'm just going to screenshot it and you'll maybe see yourself this coming week. Okay, couple of new coach must knows. Our core mission is to help people achieve their goals and enjoy a healthy, fulfilling life. I always try to keep that at the forefront of every call because I think, especially with training calls, it can feel like we get off track of our core mission. But this is why we do the things that we do. This is why we post on social media. This is why we reach out and invite, because our mission is to help people achieve their goals and enjoy a healthy, fulfilling life. It doesn't matter if you don't remember the why. So how do we do that? We start our Beachbody Challenge. We get plugged into a program. We do that challenge according to the calendar and we get results and we measure them and we showcase them. It's the same thing for, like I told, you know, I was shouting out Carrie for her transformation post. That's what she's doing. She's getting results like a boss. We practice the vital behavior. We prove the product works every day. We connect, invite, and follow up. We're going to talk more about that tonight. We help people get results and we recognize them, and we have personal development every single day because we're not just about a physical transformation. We're about transforming our whole lives, not just getting some abs. We help 3 people a month minimum, and we log in and do our training. Like, that's the new coach must knows. This is what we do. I think you guys, most of you guys saw my post in our team page about, like, I wish I could have a job where I just drink chocolate milkshakes, eat peanut butter, and do workouts and get paid for it. We do. This is how we do it. It's just a little more involved than that post makes it seem. Just a quick reminder about the team shop. It is still up. It's still going. And I did want to say this. I wanted to make sure, not that it matters, but I did want to make sure I clarify because I got an interest, like somebody on our team sent me a message and she said something about like my order for you. And I was like, you do know that I don't make money off of this order. Like, I just want to clarify that. Like, I think that's such an awkward thing, but like, this is not my shop. I invested in a shop for our team so that we have this resource. This is not a money making opportunity for Danielle. This is just an opportunity that we have to be able to have some branded stuff. So I'm sure if I was going to make if I was going to make money from it, I'm sure that I would have to do a lot more work than just upload some cute stuff and put it on the website. So, okay. So does anybody else have any quick announcements before, let me check the chat before we go on. Gave that cup task to your team cup team. Yes. And you still have one promo code left. Yeah, I still have 2 left. So get to using them, Danielle. Okay. And I will be using them via this formula. So you guys, I am going to make this PowerPoint available to you guys. But I also want you to lean in and listen and really take some notes tonight and see where at the end I think we'll have time. Yeah, we'll have time. See at the end where you feel like things are dropping off, and then make sure that you make note of any questions that you have, and we can go back through little pieces and parts of this formula to really help you refine what you're saying and how you're saying it and getting you better results with your invites. Because the reality is most people, this is where they stop, right? Like they get the hang of social media and they're like, okay, I can post a picture. I can do a transformation post. Okay. Why are the people not banging down my door to join the boot camp? And most likely it's because you're not inviting. It's the part that for a lot of people is the most uncomfortable. It's the part that feels salesy. It's the part that feels not good. And before I even get started, I want to share with you guys an analogy. I know I've shared it a lot, and so some of you might have heard it in the last 6 years and some of you haven't. But there was a national wake-up call. The girl's name was Summer, but I can't remember her last name, who spoke. And she shared an analogy of someone standing on the side of the road with a coffee stand, right? They're even giving the coffee away for free. But if she's just standing there with a table full of coffees, most people aren't just going to run up to her and be like, oh my God, can I have some of your coffee? You look really energetic and caffeinated. Can I have some of your coffee? No, she has to invite people to have some of the coffee, right? So she starts inviting people to have some of the coffee. And she's like, hey, would you like some coffee, to the first person that rolls up to her table? And they flicker the bird and they're like, screw you. I don't want any of your stupid coffee. And they go off in their grouchy mood. And she's like, man, what is wrong with me? Why am I not? What is wrong with me? In reality, that person had a bad morning. It literally has nothing to do with her, but she took it personally, right? Next person walks up to her and she says, hey, would you like some coffee? And they're like, ugh, no, gross. And they walk off. And again, she internalizes that and she thinks it's about her. And she's like, God, what did I do? Do I stink? What's wrong with me? Am I being too salesy? Am I too pushy? What's wrong? In reality, maybe that person doesn't like coffee. The next person walks up. She's like, hey, can I get some? Or she's like, hey, would you like some coffee? And they just rush right by her. They don't even make eye contact. They just keep on going past her corner, right? And she's like, what did I do? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with this? Da 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 da, right? She internalizes it. She takes her table, she packs up her coffee, and she leaves. The next person comes by and they are dying of thirst and they are dragging. Their kids were up all night long and all they wanted was a cup of coffee. But because she internalized the no's or the ignores from the people who passed before them, they didn't get the thing that they needed, right? And so I think sometimes coaching is a lot like that. And when we go to invite, we treat it like that. We think everything is about us. It's, maybe they don't like me. Maybe I'm being too salesy. They talked to me last time. Why won't they talk to me now? In reality, we think a whole lot more about ourselves than other people think about us. People are very self-consumed. They are probably not thinking a bit of nothing about what you're doing in the way that you're asking. Yes, there are some specific things that you can do to make the process easier and better. And maybe, smiling when you ask if the person would like coffee instead of being like, you want some stinking coffee? That will net you a different result, right? But the reality is, there's going to be people that don't like coffee. There's going to be people that don't need coffee. Maybe they had coffee at home. There's going to be people that they think they're too busy to stop and get coffee. And then there's going to be the person that desperately needs the coffee that you have, right? Silly analogy, but it really made a big impact on my heart. I remember exactly where I was when I was listening to that national wake up call. I remember I was actually doing a running program, not a Beachbody one, but I was like trying to train for a 5K or something like that. And I was out running, and I used to listen to the national wake up call recordings on my AirPods. And that like stopped me in my tracks, you guys, because at that point in time in my business, I was allowing every single person that I went out and invited, because my coach told me I needed to invite. I was allowing every single person that said no. I was taking it personally, and I was allowing it to affect my heart, and allowing it to affect my worth, and allowing it to stop me in my tracks from inviting. And had I done that, the majority of you would not be here on this call today. That's the truth. And there will be people that if you stop inviting and you don't hone this skill, that miss out on a blessing because you kept your mouth shut. And so I'm hoping that by sharing this very simple formula for inviting, that you will feel more confident and be able to let the no's or the ignores just roll off your back and have some actual skill behind what you're doing. The other thing that I want to share with you guys before we get going, this is a duplicatable system. So there are things that are unduplicatable in this business. Your story is unduplicatable. My story, not a single one of you, no matter how similar you are to me, can duplicate my story. The way I look, the pictures of myself that I take, that is unduplicatable. Every single other thing in this business should be duplicatable. If it is not duplicatable, and if your downline coaches, if you're a coach sitting on this call and you have coaches up underneath of you, and you are not making every single system that you do duplicatable, you're making it too hard for your team to succeed. And that's one of the things that I think made a lot of sense last year when we look at how we went from essentially a diamond team to a 5-star elite team, was that I focused on how do I make what I'm doing duplicatable? How can I give my team the exact tools for success? And this is one of them. I know I went live talking about this. I guess that was last week or the week before, but I wanted to like actually sit down and type it out so that you guys have a very formulaic way of making a successful business through inviting. So without further ado, let's get started. But again, before we can invite, there are some prerequisites, because inviting doesn't work if you don't do these two things. You can invite all day long. You can erase this slide and you can literally do all the rest of it, but it's not going to work consistently. It might work occasionally, because again, there's going to be that person that runs up to the coffee person on the side of the corner and is like, "Oh my God, I'm dying. I have to have coffee." But you cannot build a business with only people who are only dying for coffee in that moment, right? Like, you have to be able to build a consistent business with consistency. And so the number one thing that we're going to work on, or the two things we're going to work on, not number one. The first thing we're going to work on is consistency in social media. So take this to heart. If you are not consistent in your social media, your business will not grow consistently. Sorry for the tough love. It's the truth. Get over it. Like, it will not grow consistently. In 2021, and I'm not saying that every single transaction that you ever make with this business is going to come from social media, but social media is the public proof of what you're doing. Otherwise, you are a word of mouth business. And while that works for some things, it does not work consistently with coaching. You will have these big spikes where everybody's talking about your business, and then you will have low, low lows when that drops off. And so it's my job as y'all's coach to help you build a business based on consistency. So I did a couple of qualifying questions that I want you to ask yourself, and maybe you can type them in the chat if you feel bold enough to be like honest here. Um, I want you to ask yourself, are you posting 5 to 7 days a week on Instagram or Facebook? And I don't mean 5 to 7 days a week with stories. I mean, are you doing a hard post 5 to 7 days a week? Are you posting about your workouts, meals, mindset, or your group 5 to 7 days a week? Yes or no? Are your posts positive? I was talking to somebody the other day about why people, like, she gets a lot of, I don't want to say traction because that's not the right word. Her posts get a lot of attention, but they're not the right kind of attention, guys. They are, if everybody wants to put the sad emoji after your posts, you are influencing social media or your community in a positive way. Therefore, when people need a positive change, they are not going to think about you. They're going to think, oh, that's really sad. Gosh, she's really having a tough time. And not to say that every single thing, like, I want to make sure that you understand that doesn't mean I'm asking you to polish a turd. Sometimes life sucks. Sometimes things are really hard, but your posts as a whole should not be bent toward the negative all the time. You need to find the silver lining. You need to find the thing that's encouraging. You need to find the hope, because that is what we're doing here, is offering people hope and a solution and a transformation. And if every time they come to your social media, it's a bunch of negative Nancy, Debbie Downer, you're just complaining on social media, that's not what our team is about. And I don't want you representing our team that way. And then the last question is, are you posting Instagram or Facebook stories? And that's pretty much a daily thing. Sometimes you can go maybe a day or so without, but if you are planning on staying in the algorithm and staying current in that, you do need to be posting to Instagram or Facebook stories on a daily basis. Doesn't have to be a ton, like maybe 10 total. But the rest of this formula doesn't really work if you aren't working on this consistency in social media. And so make that your goal, right? Like, make consistency your goal. Put it in your trackers, set a timer on your, or not a timer, but like an alarm on your phone to remind you to post. Type it up and get everything ready the night before so you can post it the next day and not have to think about it. Like, don't overthink it. And we have tons and tons and tons of trainings in our team about social media. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that tonight because I really want to get us through the formula. Before you get to invite, you also have to build a relationship. That is another thing that you can try to circumvent that, but you will be beating your head against a wall. I'm not asking you to become best friends with every single person in your social media network. I'm asking you to treat them as a human being, because people want relationship. We as human beings inside of us desire connection and relationship. And every single one of you, I guarantee it, whether you've seen it or not, has gotten a cold message from some rando person that you are on social media with. Maybe she's a Facebook friend from high school you haven't talked to in 20 years. You get a message that's like, hey girl, hope you're doing okay. I'm having a book party. Can you come to my book party? Or I'm selling Tupperware now, or I'm doing this. And you either ignore and move along, or you just completely, like, I don't know, you just are like, no, maybe if you are a person who answers. I'm a person who answers because I'm also a person who builds a business on social media. So I answer. I'm like, no, thank you. I'm not interested right now. But you're not going to usually get a positive response if you have not taken the time to build a relationship. So a couple of things that I want you to keep in mind when you're building a relationship, or before you invite. Have you talked to this person in the last 3 months? And I don't mean physically face to face. I mean, it's 2021. Let's be real. Like, we're all texting and DMing and commenting, and like, it's rare that I talk to the same people every 3 months, right? Do I care more about them or my points, or the fact that I haven't used my promo code, or the fact that I haven't hit my goal for the month? Who do I really care about in this situation? If it's not them, I need to check my heart. and I need to worry about what's going on in their lives. That's the other thing. And I know I've said it 100 times on our team calls, but I want to make sure that you guys understand. I'm not asking you to know every detail of the person's life. I certainly don't know every detail of y'all's life. And I feel like we are in community together, right? But I am not, and I've done it before, and that's why I'm so emphatic about it. I get in my inviting mode and I'm inviting and I'm inviting and I'm like, hey girl, how's it going? Hope you had a great weekend. Sun sure is shining outside. Do you want to join my boot camp? And then they're like, thanks a lot. My dog died. Like, way to acknowledge like a really hard thing in my life. And I'm like, oh, sorry. I didn't even look. Like, take 5 seconds and go look at the most recent thing and make sure you're not missing a massive life event and before you invite. So make sure you care about them. Are you really listening when they talk to you? Or are you just, again, consumed with your own objective? When somebody is talking about how they're struggling and how it's been such a hard season for them and their kids are really having a hard time with COVID, and all the things, are you listening to them? Are you connecting with them? Or are you just trying to blow past that to get to your objective? Make sure that you treat them like a human being. Are you offering some of yourself to them? And I say that I debated going back and forth of the way I wanted to word this. But if relationships are hard for you, if you are somebody who that does not come naturally, I want to help you in that. Relationships are not one-sided. Just like if you have a spouse, it cannot always be about you. And it cannot always be about the other person. Like, that's the other thing that I think coaches get really disconnected with, I guess is the right way to say it, is they try to put all of the emphasis on the client and they never make that personal connection where they have offered a piece of themselves. And we're going to go through how to do that. But I want to make sure that you are making sure that you're offering a little bit of yourself to that person too, your story, your vulnerability, because if you're not, most of the time the connection isn't strong enough to complete the sale, if that, for lack of better words. And then do you talk to them about things that aren't Beachbody related? That's something that was really brought home to me. And it hurt when the person said that to me, but in the end, I'm really grateful that they had enough, like, I just want to say balls, but like they had enough balls to like say, well, the only time you ever, because I had reached out to them about something else and they were like, oh, I thought you were going to ask me about Beachbody stuff. And I was like, oh, no, I just, want to know blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, because yeah, for the last 3 years, the only time you've ever talked to me is about Beachbody. And I was like, ouch, ouch. Like, that really hurt. And I got my feelings hurt by it. But then I go and I scroll up and it's the truth. I don't care anything about them. The only thing I've done is talk to them about Beachbody. And I don't want to be that person that the only reason that I show up in somebody's DM is to talk about my business, right? Like, it needs to also be about them in their life. So make sure that you are connecting with them on that human level. Okay. So now we're going to get into like the actual meat of this. I'm going to have to like minimize this so I can see everything. So the first thing before I do that, the first thing that you have to understand is, again, just like we talked about before, if you are not consistent in social media, you're going to hear me say it a lot tonight, none of this works because we're inviting off of that. Otherwise, you're essentially walking door to door in your neighborhood and knocking on people's doors. And again, while that might randomly net you one rando person, it is not a consistent way to build a business. You have to be consistent in social media. So, okay, so we're gonna operate on the presumption that you are being consistent with social media and that you are posting Facebook and Instagram stories. It's really easy to invite and I think so many people get hung up because they're like, I get stuck in the small talk. Like, I get stuck in the small talk and I don't know how to get to the invitation. Most of the time, that's because you aren't being present on social media with your workouts and your boot camps and your coaching opportunity and all of that. So it is an awkward transition. But if you are posting about it in your stories, it's so easy to invite. All you have to do is go to the people who watched your story and make sure you back all the way up. So it's the biggest list of people, right? And you just say, excuse me, you say, hey, and I always put the person's name in because I want them to know that they're a human being. That's like tip 101 on relationship building is use the person's name. So it's not, hey girl, and you're not just copy pasting, copy pasting, copy pasting, right? Hey, Carrie, how's it going? Insert something specific to them. If you can make it a question, even better. I saw that Virginia is getting snow. Did you guys get any? Like, I know that Carrie lives in Virginia. Maybe her post has snow in it and I'm acting like a ding dong. And I'm like, did y'all get any snow? Okay. That shows that I care about the other person. It doesn't take, I think most of us build this relationship thing up to these like monumental, I have to like propose to them in marriage kind of thing. It really is not that hard. Just care about the other person and what they're going through. Hey, might sound random, but I know you saw my story or yesterday or today or whenever you're referencing your story earlier about fill in the blank. Are you inviting them to your boot camp? Are you inviting them to the coach opportunity? Whatever it is, say my February boot camp or whatever. I left these blanks, not so you can copy paste this, so that you can customize it to you. And let me just say things that I don't feel like I should have to say. For the love of God, proofread your post if you're copy pasting. I got a post the other day about somebody asking me to join their some other lemongrass something, I don't know what it was, some group. And it literally said, example message to potential people. And then it was the message. And I was like, oh girl, like, you can't do that. That's not good. So make sure that you're not sending them, hey, blank name, blank, how's it going? Like, again, things I shouldn't have to say, but I am going to. Anyways, I can't talk. I also can't see it because the screen is in front of it. Okay. But I know you saw my story today about my February boot camp and wanted to know if that's something you've ever considered joining. I think you would love it. If you want to make this even more powerful, tell them why you think they love it, especially if it's the coach opportunity. I think you would love our team. I know you were thinking about quitting your job 6 months ago. Maybe that's something you guys talked about. This might be a great opportunity. And then I always end in the question, can I send you more information? It's a yes or no. That's all it is. Most people will respond to this. It's very, very rare that I don't get a response to this. We'll talk about what to do if you don't, but very, very rare. If you're inviting from your post, again, this is under the presumption that you are posting about what you're doing, because if you're not posting about what you're doing, don't make any sense when you go into somebody's DMs and you're like, hey, do you want to join my boot camp? And they're like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So you've been posting about your boot camp coach opportunity. You can easily invite this way. Very simple again. Hey, Carrie, how's it going? How's the snow in Virginia? Did you guys get as much as they expected? Might sound random. Not sure if you saw my post today about my coach opportunity. And I wanted to know if that's something you've ever considered joining. I think you'd love it. Can I send you more information? Literally, it's the same formula, you guys. Okay. So next. So they either are going to do one of two things. They're going to ghost you. Well, technically they can do 3 things, but if they say no, I mean, you can be like, okay, no problem. Like, cross them off your list. I actually appreciate when somebody like flat out says, no, I don't want to do this. Because then I don't waste my time worrying about if they're going to do this with me. Right. So these are the 2 that we're going to spend time on. They ghost you or they say yes. If they ghost you, you go back to interacting on their stories, on commenting on their posts, on being a human being, right? You don't sit there and continue to knock on the door. Hey, you in there? You in there? You in there? Hey, hey, hey. Like, don't be that person. It's annoying. Go back to treating them like a human being. Interact on their stories. Send them a little heart. Send them a little love bomb. Like, oh, she's so cute. Whatever you got to do. But go back to being just their friend, right? Okay. And then circle around to the same invite next month or the next time you have an opportunity. So the next time we do a coach opportunity and that person is still watching your stories. That's the thing. So you go back and you're like, you send them essentially the same thing. Like, didn't hear back from you last month, blah, 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 blah. I did put a disclaimer in here that if it's been over 3 months of no answer about the boot camp, I usually put at the end of the message, let me know if you're not interested. I definitely don't want to be a pest. That line is magic, you guys. I'm telling you, I have never had anyone continue to ghost me. I either get, yeah, I'm not interested. And then we know what to say, right? No worries. I'll take you off my follow up list. Hope you're having a good day. And you move right along. Or, this is way more common, like way, 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 way more common. No, don't take me off your follow up list. I'm just not ready yet. And then you can go into objection battling. Like, oh, well, why are you held up about getting information? Like, then you can have a conversation. But if they continue to ghost, you kind of have to get to that point of decision with them, right? Okay. So that's if they ghost. If they say yes, this is like big giant disclaimer. Do not give them a price or any information. Even if right here you literally just said, can I send you more information? They say yes, don't do it. That is the number one mistake people make in this process. They start word vomiting all over someone. They're like, oh my God, you would love it. It's a boot camp and it's 30 minutes a day and and that's $160. And that person is like, shut down. No, don't care. Don't want any information. Don't shoot yourself in the foot. I'm telling you, you're taking a shotgun and just blasting your feet off by giving them information. I know that seems counterintuitive. I know, and I say that because I was that stubborn person that was like, no, I am straightforward and I will just tell them. Here's the deal. Again, with the psychology behind what we do, people are more consumed with themselves than they are with what you have to offer them. So play their game, right? Be more interested in them than you are with giving them the information at first. You have to get to a point where you are giving them the information, because otherwise that's just obnoxious, right? But do not do it first off the bat. Get to know them, because you need that piece of information to really help them. Awesome. I'm so glad you're interested. Can you tell me a little bit about your health and wellness goals so I make sure I give you the right information that is professional, that is respectful of the relationship? You are honoring the fact that that other person has an entire life that needs help, whatever it is. They are a human and they need what we have. But if you shotgun blast them with information, people shut down. And I'm telling you, if you've been doing this and you're like, oh my God, that's the reason, because I word vomit all over people, stop doing it immediately. Okay. So we'll move on from that. So they've said yes. And then say they don't answer you. You sent them that thing and you're like, hold on, we'll go back a slide. You sent them, can you tell me a little bit about your health and wellness goals so I can make sure I give you the right info? And then they ghost you. I go back to interacting on I write their name down, because anybody that says yes to information, they go on that list in my book, right? I actually don't keep track of every single conversation I ever have. And every single time I send somebody that message that's like, can I send you more information? Because I do that to like friggin' everybody, right? But if they say yes, that's when they go on my list. And so when they say yes, and I send them that little snippet, and then they ghost me, I go back to interacting on their stories, to loving on them, to commenting on their posts, to being a human. I give it 48 hours, and then I write back. Hey, did you write back and then forget to send it? I do that all the time. I want to get you the info on the boot camp or whichever coach opportunity, whichever. Don't say boot camp / coach opportunity. Like, pick one that you were inviting them to. But definitely don't want to just spam you with random information that isn't pertinent to you. Again, you're showing that they matter most. You're showing that you're a professional. And then again, if they either say, oh my God, girl, yes, my kid, I meant to respond to you and then my kids got crazy, or I did respond to you and then I didn't push send. Ha ha ha. I do that all the time too. Or they ghost you again. That's when you go back to this step, and then just circle back the next month. 'Cause I don't want you guys just like sitting there beating your head on a wall, like trying again. That's like to me, I picture myself like standing in front of somebody's house, just banging on the door, banging on the door. Like that's obnoxious. Nobody likes that. So again, if this has passed and they continue to ghost, go back a step and go to this ghosting up here. If they come back and they say, and I said, I just left it blank. They say literally anything. They have their own story. They had a baby and they can't get back in shape. I talked to a girl today who was doing keto and has totally fallen off the wagon and it sucks and I hate it and blah, 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 right? I'm not saying it doesn't matter what they say, but they're going to say their story. You need to do a couple of things. You need to relate back to them. Again, be a real human. Girl, I totally get that. When I was, and this is the feel, felt, found. If you've ever done any other trainings with Beachbody and they talk about the feel, felt, or feel, found, felt method, this is essentially that, just my own version of it. I totally get that. When I was back in college, I did keto before keto was cool and lost 40 pounds and then gained it all back plus more. This is when I'm telling you guys where we were talking about here. Are you offering some of yourself to them? This is, where were we? Oop, right here. This is a big opportunity for you to offer some of yourself, not all of yourself, not your entire story, because again, this isn't about you, it's about them. But you need to offer that connection point so that they understand that you understand them. I felt the same way. And then I found this boot camp and it has been blank. It's been amazing. It's been blah, 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 blah. I've lost 40 pounds. I've done this and I have a great community and I'm really, encouraged or whatever. Fill in the blank with your story, your feel, felt, found. And then I always say, we have a few different enrollment options. I'll send you a little graphic that explains them. And then you guys have this graphic, but I'll show you it again. I think people think like there's something else going on. There's not. This is literally the graphic that I send them. I just have it listed on my website instead of it being like a graphic. But I made y'all a graphic that doesn't link back to me in any way. I send them this graphic and then I leave it alone. Okay. So send them the graphic. These are nutrition only. And guys, I will tell you, I don't ever sell this. I genuinely do not ever sell this because this is a way better deal. You get all of this plus a year on BOD for $160. And now that we have off the wall, you can get them the brand new program for literally the exact same amount of money as the plain, what am I trying to say? I keep wanting to say boot camp, but the not all inclusive, all access. Or I call it the all inclusive, which is the deluxe package. So all inclusive is Shakeology and Performance Line. So I send them that. Okay. So we back to the formula. If they ghost, go back to interacting on their stories, commenting on their posts, and being a human. So again, remind them in the front that you guys were having a conversation in the back, right? I can't tell you how many times where I've done this step and immediately after commenting on somebody's thing, they send me a message and we're like, oh my God, I totally forgot to respond to you. I saw your comment on my post pop up. It reminded me I needed to go respond to you. So make sure you do this step. Don't skip it. Give it 24 hours if they've ghosted you. Follow up. Hey, Carrie, did you get a chance to look at the enrollment options? I would love to help you get going with your goal. Reiterate their goal. If you skipped this step where you asked them for their goal, you don't have this information to fill in the blank. This information, again, shows that you actually care about them and not just selling them something. I think, and then I make a recommendation. It's almost always the nutrition and fitness unless it's all inclusive. I think the nutrition and fitness package would be the best fit for you. Then the magic question, what questions did you have? Not what do you think? That is that question takes a shotgun blast to your foot and cuts you off. Not what do you think? Stop using that line. Nobody wants to tell you what they think, okay? They need to know what questions did you have. It gives them a focus and a direction. Sometimes they get back and they say, oh, I didn't have any questions. I'm not interested. Great, no worries. What was it that made you, what turned you off? What made you think that this isn't for you? Then you can start battling objections. Well, it's too expensive. Well, what part of it feels too expensive for you? How much do you think it should cost? You can actually do some work and have a conversation around it, right? But that's where that is. Okay, so either they ghost or they say yes. Hooray, they said yes. So this is what you say. And again, I think that these are some tricky spots where people get cut off and they're like, this is what I'm doing that's not working. You word vomit all over them, because just because they said, yeah, I do want to do this, does not mean they are your client. I will repeat that like I have to repeat things to my children. I see it all the time. Well, Amy said yes. Well, good for Amy. Did Amy push the submit button on her order? No? Okay, then Amy is not one of your clients yet. Okay, so Amy can say whatever Amy wants to say, but Amy isn't a client yet. So just because they said yes does not mean you can count them as Success Club points. Just because you sent them a share a cart does not mean they are your client. That is like somebody walking around Walmart with a cart full of stuff. And just because they get to the checkout line does not mean they own that stuff. They cannot go to the checkout line and then not swipe a card and walk out with the stuff. They don't own it. They don't have you as a coach until they complete the share a cart, okay? You don't have them as Success Club points until they complete the share a cart. End of story. So I don't care how many people have said yes to you. I don't care how many people you send a share a cart to. Until they check out, they are not your customer yet. Okay. So this is what you say. Awesome. Can you send me your email? And if you prefer the pre and post workout or the Shakeology, leave it at that. Sometimes I will make a recommendation. I'm like, I really think that the Shakeology would be what would be a best fit for you, because you talk about how you skip breakfast all the time. This would be a great solution for you. So then again, they have the opportunity to ghost you at this point, right? And we've all had it where they're like, yes, and then they never get back to you. So then you go back, you interact on their stories, you comment on their posts, you are a human. I would not give it 24 hours if they've already said yes. I'd give them like 6 maybe. But if you talk to them in the morning, follow up in the evening and say like, hey, did you get cold feet? Like make it funny, make it light. Don't be like, did you forget about me? They probably just got distracted with their kids. Like, don't take it personally. So anyways, once you have their email, then when they get back to you with that, don't overwhelm them with too many choices. Too many choices makes people run away. I have been there. I have stood in front of the other day, and y'all are going to laugh at me, but there's this new place here called T-Spresso. And I literally stopped in and I got there and there's like 7,000 choices. And the person at the counter was not available to help me. There was a lot of people in there. And I turned around and I walked out, because too many choices makes me go, oh my, and I've never had this before. Like, I don't know what's good. I don't, I'm like, I gotta go. So I turn around and walk out. And again, even if they've given you their email, they are not your customer yet. So I usually just say, great, they said, yeah, I'll take the Shakeology. Great, the Shakeology comes in chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, or coffee. Do you have a preference, or do you want a mixed box of my favorites? End of story. They'll tell you their preference, or they'll say, no, you just give me what you like. Easy peasy. I send them the share a cart. And again, we are not done yet. Closing the deal. I know we got 5 minutes, so I'm going to be quick. You guys have access to this. It's in our team page. I'm going to give you guys the slideshow so that you can literally just copy and paste it for yourselves. But I send them the share cart. I copy paste the link to them. So if you're not doing that, stop just sending an email and expecting them to go check out through their email, because they're not going to do it. Send them the link and say, okie dokie, I sent you an email. Here's the link too. This is another vital step. Let me know as soon as you get your cart completed so I can get your welcome packet sent out. You're giving them the sense of urgency, okay? If you're just like, whenever you get a chance, guess who's never going to complete their share cart? Them, right? Then I say that, and I literally copy and paste this. I don't rewrite it every time. I have a note on my computer and I put in their link and then I copy and I paste it to them. This has everything you need to fill out, ready to go. Cart loaded. It will say you're signing up to be a coach. Since it's a health and fitness company, they call preferred customers coaches. That's how you'll get a discount if you continue with the Shakeology after the first month. There is no charge for the first month, and it's just as easy to turn off as it is the regular customer. So I just find this the easier route. I just didn't want you to be alarmed when you started checking out. That disclaimer goes at the bottom of every single one of the times that I send this link. Choose the coach option. Do not ask them, do you want to be a coach? Well, what's a coach? And then let them get freaked out and back out. You be the authority. They came to you, they trust you, be the authority. If they're like, oh my God, I don't want to be a coach, and they're, then you can have the conversation like, well, you're not really coaching anybody, it's just preferred customer, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, no worries, I'll resend it as a customer. And then I go back and I redo the share card as a customer and I resend it. End of story. But I will tell you, if I send 10 share cards, 9.8 of them go through as a coach, because I don't let them have any kind of doubt about it. If I enter the doubt, that's when things start getting wibbly wobbly. Okay. Okay. All right. And then using the promo code. Oh, I wanted to put this in there just specifically because we have promo codes right now. I don't give them the promo code when I send them the share card. That is dumb. You are wasting a promo code on them. And this, again, it creates that psychological sense of urgency for them, that's when they're like, oh my gosh, okay, yeah, I'll do that now. So I get the share card, or so I get the promo code now. So at the end of this message, so I click enter, this all sends to them. In a separate bubble, I send, let me know when you get to the part where it says promo code, and I'll send you the code. That's it. I do not send them the code until they get to that part, because that then tells me they're checking out and we're doing good. Okay. So that's it, I think. Hold on. Yep, that was it. That's all I wrote. So hopefully this was helpful for you. Hopefully this did not totally overwhelm you. I wanted to make it very specific to, this is what you do, then you do this. If they say this, then you do this. That's why, like, when Megan and I were on the call before everybody else got on, we were talking about those little infographic bubbles that you had, like in the Teen Beat magazine, where it's like, do you like to read? Yes or no. And you like follow the little chart. Yes or no. Yes or no. I wish this was that way, so that you could just say like, okay, now what do I do? They said yes. And you click it and it pops up. Did they ghost you? Yes. This is what you do. So hopefully you're able to follow that formula, just like you are with, I'm not good at math, so math formulas, but that scares me. So let's not do math formulas. But hopefully that's good and was helpful. Let me scan the chat for questions. Humanly connecting with someone right now. My last connection involves poop. Sorry, ladies. Oh, sorry. Lemongrass is great for Charlie horse's tendons. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oils are good, but it wasn't about oils. It's a company called Lemongrass. I don't know what that is. Maybe it has to do with oils. I really don't know. Either way, when you come at me with, send this example message to potential people, I'm not going to go. Like, I'm not going to your party. Sorry. Like, I'm not going to do that. I almost went because it just felt bad that I got it. I'm like, she don't know what she's doing, but I didn't, because I don't have time for that. So, okay. Does anybody have any questions? I want to hear where, hey Layla, hi Leilani. I want to hear where you guys get tripped up. I know it is 9 o'clock, so if you have to go, I love you lots, but I am going to keep the recording on, because I think the chat behind this, like the after chat, is really helpful. If you guys have like, okay, I'm consistently tripped up in this spot, what is going on? So you can just take yourself off mute if you want. You overwhelm people, like you were talking about. Yeah, it's super common. I mean, like, I wish that I could scroll back to my messages from 3 or 4 years ago. That was 100% my issue. I'm excited about what I'm doing, and I want to share that excitement. There's nothing wrong with that. But you overwhelm people. And the other thing is, sometimes when you talk too much, you introduce doubt where doubt didn't exist before. You start telling your story about I think a really good example is when I tell my story about coaching. I introduce doubt when I sit there and talk about how it took me so long to get going with coaching and a da 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 da. They're like, oh, ooh, that'll take me a really long time. I don't think I want to do that. They start inserting themselves into my story. And so if I talk to them about like too much, then they talk themselves out of what they were excited about doing. All right. Well, Carrie's gone, but leaving, got to work with the hubs. Love you. Where will we be able to find the slides? I will put them in the Team Nourish page. Yes. Yeah, because I want you guys to be able to copy paste this and use it as a template. I remember when I first started getting started with coaching, I was so afraid to use scripts because I didn't want to sound like, I mean, and the scripts that we were given in the beginning were from Amy Silverman, which she is a part of our upline team. Great person. We sound nothing alike. And so I would try to use her scripts and it didn't sound like me and it turned me off and it made me think that I could not be successful in this because what I was doing was not helpful. The problem was there was no personalization in that script. It was literally, this like, and it wasn't a formula. It was a just copy paste this and put their name in it. It didn't sound like me. It didn't sound like I would want to sound, and it had no human connection. Our team is built on human connection, guys. So make sure that that's a part of this. And if that slows you down with your inviting, I would rather you send out 10 or 20 really solid invites that really make a connection and not send 100 copy pasted things that don't ever get anybody to talk back to you. I would rather you have really good connections with people than, like I said, 100 where nobody ever responds to you because you're just copy pasting crap to them. So, um, did anybody else have any other questions or any spots in this where you feel like, yeah, this is where I need more help? Or you can just listen to me drink my shake. Hey, Layla.
I finally have been more consistent with getting on people's pages, and I have noticed a big difference in like the behind the scenes conversations.
Huge.
So, yeah, so I was always extremely scared to throw out invites, but
Mm-hmm.
I noticed like this time around, even with just like Team Cup in our team, we have more specific goals and stuff. So I've been pushing myself to add people and actually get on their page and engaging. And I've seen a big difference in my behind the scenes conversations.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like I've gotten also better with building that bridge, like how you're saying, from just a regular conversation to the invite, because I was having trouble with that a lot, but lately I have been having an easier time with it.
Right.
So I'm finally just being consistent, and
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a difference.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Well, and the other thing, I mean, just to speak about you specifically, is from what I've seen, you're also being more consistent in front of the scenes with your social media. It's a whole lot easier to invite when you're consistent in front too. Like to me, you cannot be consistent with inviting if you're not consistent with your social media presence, essentially, like showing up in front of the scenes. Because again, that's no different than I mean, again, you might have one or two people that are like, yeah, I'll go to your pampered chef party. They're not going because they want to go. They're going because they're like your next door neighbor, like if you want to have a successful, consistent business, you have to be consistent with the front of the scenes and the back and the behind the scenes. And the other one thing I do want to say, and again, it's one of those things I feel like I maybe shouldn't have to say, but I'm going to say it because I see it a lot, is people will interact with, and I say this because I hesitate to say it because I don't want people to stop interacting on each other's posts because that's really important. But I see a lot of people commenting on a lot of coaches' pages. Other coaches are not going to join your group. So that if you're counting that as your time of interacting with others, you're doing busy work and wondering why it's not working. Because Carrie and Michelle and Megan and Michelle and Amanda and Layla and Amy and me, I'm not going to join your boot camp. I'm already in one. So be sure that you're focusing your income producing activity time in your income, in people who can actually bring income, not in following other coaches and interacting on Aaron Hopkins stuff and interacting on Moira's stuff. That is the stuff that I do in my spare time. I watch y'all's stuff because I love you and you're my friends and I want to know what's going on in your life, not during my work time. I don't watch what Michelle and Megan and Amanda are doing during my focused power hour. That's the stuff that I do when I'm sitting on the couch with my husband at night and we're vegging out, but that does not get counted as time I invested in my business. And I think that sometimes we make ourselves look really busy doing nothing that's actually productive. So that's just a little thing that probably doesn't need to be said, but also probably does need to be said to some people. So um, is there anything else before we hop on? Is there any part that you feel like gets tripped up or that you're currently struggling with people you're inviting? Good night, Amy. Okay. Well, if nobody has anything else, we can hop off and I will put the recording of this in our files thing for the Team Nurse calls. Feel free to share it with the people on your team if you think that it would be really helpful to them. And then if you, well, not if you, but I'm also going to put the PowerPoint in a PowerPoint document, not in like a PDF or anything, so that you can actually copy and paste from the direct slides so that you can use that with people. So, all right, you guys, I hope everybody has a good night. Good night, Michelle. Love you too. Good night, guys. Bye.